Hi Wolverine. So today is Wednesday, so we will be doing another science experiment. And now last week we used science to create something. We made the bath bombs, but this week we're going to actually go through the entire scientific method to see if we can answer a specific question. So remember, in our scientific method we have 5 steps. Our first step is to make a question, see something and have a question about it. And then we move on to making a guess about how we might answer our question, or also it's called a hypothesis, to make a guess about what might happen. And then after our hypothesis, we're going to actually do the experiment and see what we can figure out. The 4th step would be collecting data and recording what we see in our experiment. And then finally we move to the conclusion where we collect all our data and look at it and decide if the hypothesis or the guess we made about what might happen, if it did happen, and if it didn't, why might that be? So today's question, I'm going to first give us a few things that we know. So we're talking about pennies today. And a few things I know about pennies is that pennies are usually made of zinc and copper, which is why it's this brown color. They're usually brown. And older pennies look different than newer pennies. So in this experiment, we're going to be working with older pennies, pennies before the year of 1981. So our question is going to be, can we make these pennies change a different color? So for this experiment, we need a few things. We need a 1/4 cup of white vinegar. You don't need this much. That's all the store had. So we need a 1/4 cup of that. Okay. I'm going to fill it all the way to the top. It is not the best smelling thing, so just beware of that. 1/4 cup of white vinegar. We need a teaspoon of salt. And on our recipe, a teaspoon is shown with a lowercase t. If it was uppercase, it would be a tablespoon. Okay, I can't open this salt. Okay. Do this over the counter in case you spill some salt. Okay, a teaspoon of salt. We need a glass bowl, not too big, we only have to fit that 1/4 cup. We need a wooden spoon, a paper towel folded in half, so I just folded it hamburger style, and then we need 10 pennies or as many as you have. I think I only had 7, but these pennies need to be from 1981 or earlier, which means everything before 1981. So it can be in the 70s, but not anything past, or it will not work as planned. So remember, our question was, can pennies change colors? So after we ask our question, we're moving on to step 2, make a guess or a hypothesis. You can either say, I can make a penny change color, or I cannot make a penny change color. I'm going to let you guys decide that one. There's no right answer. We're just trying to figure it out during this experiment. So now we're going to do the experiment. That is step 3. We've asked a question, we've made a guess, and now we're going to do the experiment. So step 1, put vinegar and salt into the bowl. So the vinegar was in the 1/4 cup. Pour it in. The salt was in the teaspoon. Pour it in. And then stir it until the salt dissolves. So we're going to stir it with our wooden spoon until the salt is all dissolved and there's no more crystals in there. Okay, so we should see there's no more salt in that bowl, or no more salt crystals. So So now we're gonna move on to the next one. Put the pennies into the vinegar and salt mixture. I'm just gonna try to lay mine flat so they all have room. And then we're gonna let those pennies sit in the mixture for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna let these sit on my counter for 5 minutes. I'm not gonna touch them, and then I will be right back in 5 minutes. Okay, so we're back. It's been 5 minutes. My timer just went off. So after 5 minutes, we're gonna take the pennies out of the bowl and put them on the paper towel. So I'm gonna take them out of the bowl and lay them flat on the paper towel. Okay. After that, we are going to check the pennies throughout the day and record our results on our chart. So looking at this chart that you guys have on your paper, this is our 4th step, is to organize our data. So on this chart, it has increments of 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, it'll be 10, 20, 30, 40, and then it skips to an hour. So every 10 minutes, we're going to be recording these few questions. So do the pennies look the same as they did before they were put into the vinegar and salt? Yes or no, you can circle that. What color are the pennies? Check all the colors that you see, and then if it's not one of these, you can write what color you see. And then what do they look like? You can draw a picture, you can color it, you can do whatever you need, you can write on it however you want to show what your pennies look like. And we're going to do that every 10 minutes. So I will be checking in with you guys and showing you the pennies in 10 minutes. This is what they look like before, just starting out. This one's, I think, our oldest one, so it's kind of really dirty. But this is what they look like now. So I will be back in 10 minutes. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes. So these are what our pennies are looking like right now after 10 minutes. So you're gonna go back to your data chart and fill out just this first row that says 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and check back in after it's been 20 minutes since we took them out the bowl. Okay, this is our 20-minute check-in. These are what they're looking like close up. You can see a few of them starting to change, but nothing too much. So go ahead and fill out that second column that says 20 minutes. And I will check back in another 10 minutes after they've been out of the bowl for 30 minutes. Okay, it's now been 30 minutes. I'm going to show you the pennies close up. All right, go ahead and fill out that third row. And then I'll check back in another 10 minutes after it's been a total of 40. It has been 40 minutes, and this is what the pennies are looking like. And then go ahead and fill out your 40-minute column, and then we're actually gonna skip the next 10 minutes, and we're gonna go for 20 minutes, and then come back when it's been a total of 1 hour. So go ahead and set your timer for 20 more minutes, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, it's officially been a whole hour, and this is what the pennies are looking like so far. So this one changed a lot. You see some bluish gray in there. The other ones also changed. So that's what they're looking like. I'll flip them over, maybe we can see some on the backs. Okay, so that's what they're looking like after an hour. So go ahead and fill out your final column that says 1 hour. Did they change color? What colors are they? And then fill in your picture. And now that we've finished collecting our data, that's all that we're going to be looking for today. We're going to move on to step 5, which is finding the conclusion. So we have a few questions that we're going to answer using our data. The first one is, did some of the pennies change color? Yes or no? You guys are going to circle that one and decide. What colors did you see on the pennies? And then circle whatever colors you saw. How long did it take for them to start changing colors? So when did you first start noticing that the pennies were changing, if they were? And then was your guess or your hypothesis correct? Yes or no? And it's okay. If it wasn't, that's what science experiments are for, to figure out if our guesses are correct or not. So that's all the questions you need to fill out. And then this page kind of just talks about what happened and why the pennies might have changed colors. So I'm going to read that to you guys. So it says, why do the pennies begin to turn a green/blue color? The chemical reaction occurs. So remember last week with our bath bombs, they react based on a chemical reaction. Same thing with why these are changing colors. So a chemical reaction happens when two materials make something new. A chemical can change how something looks. So first you put the pennies in a bowl with vinegar and salt. The pennies have a copper coating on them. The acid in the vinegar reacts with the chlorine in the salt. This starts to break up the copper coating on the pennies, and then you put the pennies on a paper towel. The copper from the pennies mixes with oxygen in the air, and this is a new material called malachite. I think that's how you say it. So the malachite is a green-blue color. This is the same chemical reaction that's caused the Statue of Liberty to turn the green-blue color. So this has a little picture of the Statue of Liberty. So that didn't always start out green, but now it is because of the chemical reaction over time. And that's basically it. So we went through the whole entire process, and if you guys want to redo this process, you only need a few materials. So you can do that on Thursday. If not, you can follow along with my video and still fill out this whole chart. And that's it for this week. I'll see y'all next week.